Hello everyone and welcome to this hands-on lab. In our lab today, we will learn how to work with Amazon Bedrock's multi-agent collaboration feature. We will learn how to create a multilingual translator that will collaborate with multiple other agents to translate text from English to other languages. This supervisory agent will coordinate the final response from other agents, review and finalize the response before sharing it with the user. So let's get started. These are some reference URLs that I've mentioned over here. I would certainly recommend that you visit these URLs as they have additional information on this particular topic. I have also created a playlist on my channel for Amazon Bedrock. As I create additional tutorials and labs, I will have them added to this playlist. Both the reference URLs as well as URL to the Amazon Bedrock playlist will be mentioned in the description of this video. Scenario for our lab today. So the topic that we have chosen is multilingual translator. So what are we exactly going to do in our lab? In our lab, we are going to create an Amazon Bedrock agent that will route users' requests to separate agents to translate any English text to the language of their choice. And you could pretty much use any language that you like. These are some of the languages that I know, hence I'm using these languages like Hindi, French, and Spanish. But hey, you could use any language that you prefer. Once the text is translated by the collab agents, then the supervisor should review and finalize the translated text before sharing it with the user. So we don't want the supervisor agent or the lead agent to just delegate the work to the collaboration agents or the secondary agents. We want the supervisor agent to delegate that task, have the collaboration agents or the secondary agents work on the task, and then finish the task and hand it over back to the supervisor agent for any kind of review or finalization or any changes. We expect the supervisor agent to basically make those reviews, make any changes before the final text is shared with the user. Okay, so let's say this is our user. This is our supervisor agent. Remember that we want to translate any text from English to different languages. So let's say Hindi, French, and Spanish. So the user will send some text. Okay, and along with the text, the user will also give a language, whatever that language is. The supervisor agent is going to receive a text and is going to receive a language. Let's say the text is today. Okay, I'm just using one word, and the language is Hindi. The supervisor agent is going to take this text, take this language, look at the language, and then direct it to the corresponding collab agent or the secondary agent. This agent is going to translate the text. And after this text is translated, this agent needs to return that text back to the supervisor for any kind of reviews or finalization. The supervisor will then review the text, finalize the text, and eventually send it back to the user. So hopefully this is clear, right? So let me use another example. Let's say this is your user, this is your supervisor agent, and these are your language agents. Again, user is going to give a text. Let's say text is, what should we say? Let's say NYC. NYC is beautiful. Okay, that's a text, and we want to translate this to French. So supervisor is going to get this text, and the language is going to send it to the French collab agent or the secondary agent. The French language agent is going to translate the text from English to French and then return that text back to the supervisor. The supervisor is now going to review and finalize that translation. And once it reviews and finalizes that translation, it should send that translation back to the user. So I hope that this is clear. So I'm only using 3 languages. These are the languages that I know a little bit. So I definitely know these 2 languages. I'm not that fluent in Spanish, but hey, I can get my way through. But you can use any language of your choice. So hopefully the scenario is clear. So let's get started. Couple of things to keep in mind before we continue further ahead. I'm going to use either US East or US West region to do this lab. Now, these regions support the foundational models that I'm going to use. I would recommend that you use these regions, but you are free to use any other region that you want to use. If you are using some other region, or whether you even using this particular region, please check the cost of the foundational models used in this lab and ensure that they are supported in your region. Okay? And most importantly, this is the most important part always. Delete and release all resources after this lab has been completed. Otherwise, you will get one nice long bill from AWS, and I don't want anybody to get burnt. So step 1, we are going to create an agent for each language. So we'll go to Bedrock, build a tools agents, create agent, give a name and description. We'll create a new service role. I'm going to use Nova, or you could use any other model of your choice. Okay. Sometimes I use Nova Micro, sometimes I use Anthropic's Haiku. It just depends. It's your choice. It's my choice. You can use any model that you like. As I said, please do check its cost. And finally, we will give instructions for the agent, save, prepare, and test. So let me quickly go to my AWS console. So this is my AWS console right here, Bedrock, Builder Tools, Agents, Create Agent. So now we are going to say, what are we going to say? Agent. I'm going to say Hindi agent. Okay. I'm going to give the language name in the front. Again, you can use any language that you like. Click on create. So we have the agent name, agent description. So let's go back here. So we have finished these 2. Now we have to create a new service role. So scroll down, create and use a new service role. Ensure that you capture, so DT1. So I'm going to say role 1. So I remember that this is the role that I created. I'm going to change this to maybe, should I use Nova? Okay, let me start with Nova Micro. If it doesn't work, we'll change it. And finally, we will provide some instructions for this agent. So this is the instruction that we are going to give it. You are a linguist and an expert in a specific language who can translate any English text provided by the user to so and so. So let's go ahead over here and let me copy this. Control C and come back over here, copy. Now let's replace the parameters. So we have some parameters over here in Hindi and can translate any English text provided by the user to Hindi. Okay, so full stop. And we are good to go. We are not going to use other features. We're going to save this. Prepare. And, sorry, and test. Okay. So hello, how are you? That's how I'm going to start. But I'm here to, if any kind of information or translation you need. translate. Today is Monday. Okay, so it's done the translation really very well. Now, one of the things that you could always do is go over here to Google Translate, okay, if you're like me, and go this way and translate from English to Hindi. So today is Monday, and it's basically giving you the translation over here. And this is the same thing that you can see here. So our agent is working pretty well. So let's save and exit. So we have completed all of these steps until here. Now what we need to do now is create an alias, which will create a new version of our agent. So click on create alias, say H agent, and I'm going to give the same thing as a description over here. Click on create alias. And what you want to do is just do a quick round of check, translate, how are you? Okay, so now it's basically telling me, sorry, I cannot provide direct translations, but however, how are you translates to so and so. Okay, so hopefully this will work. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it now and basically go ahead and create the other agents. So let's go back to agents. And now we are going to create another language agent for French, and the steps are the same. Okay, so you have to basically repeat the same steps for each and every language. So create agent, say French agent. Okay, create agent. And let's just say it's V13 or VI3 or something like that. So I think it's 13 or I3, something like that, 13. And again, the instructions we are going to copy from here, paste it right there, and basically say you are an expert in French, and you'll be translating any text, English text provided by the user to French. Save, prepare, and test. So say, hello, how are you? I'm basically just starting off like that. And then in French, bonjour, thank you, how are you? So it's basically just giving us uh, the French translation over there. So now let's ask it to translate. What are we going to say? Paris is the capital of France. So let's see. Okay, it still doesn't like. I'm going to get out of sonnet and go to haiku. I don't know why sonnet doesn't like me for whatever reason. So I'm just going to prepare it again. I'm going to copy my thing, my prompt, and prepare, test, translate. Paris is the capital of France. Paris is the capital of France. It's right here. Awesome. This is the perfect translation. Again, if you want to use Google Translate, you could certainly do that. So you'll have to find where French is. Français. Okay, it's not the Canadian French. So basically English and English to French. So, okay, so Paris is the capital of France. Perfect. It got that. Awesome. So we are good. Again, we have to go back and now save and exit and create an alias for this agent. So let's create an agent, alias. So F agent. I'm going to give it F agent, paste it right there, and create an alias. Again, we'll try and test it. Hopefully it works. Most likely nothing should go wrong. And select the correct version, and then say, translate, how are you doing today? Comment alibu وجود. Okay, so it's fine. It's all good. Okay, so we are now going to go and build another agent for language translation from English to Spanish. So let's do that. So we have created two agents already. Let's create a third agent. And we are going to call it Spanish agent. Did I? Yeah, I think I misspelled it. Create agent. And again, it is 4-5 I think so. Okay, so I'm just going to say, okay, 4I or something. Sorry. 4I. Oh, whatever. Okay, 5 is not working on my laptop, so it's okay. The key is not working, guys. Okay, and then we are going to go to haiku because I don't want any issues. And now we are going to give it the instruction over here. We're going to copy our little note. Copy. Paste it right there. And then say you are a linguist in Spanish. And again, Spanish. Full stop. Save. Prepare. And finally test. So say, hello, how are you? Just as, litmus test. And there it is, already started translating and saying hola, okay. So let's say, what are we going to say? Translate. Uh, Paris is the capital of France. Okay, Paris is the capital of France. Perfect. If you want to go over here and go from English, sorry, to Spanish. I don't know where Spanish is now. Spanish, there it is. So there it is. This is the Spanish translation of this particular phrase. Awesome. So it's doing pretty good job. Okay, it did a pretty good job over here. I'm going to save and exit. And we have to create an alias for this. We're going to call it S agent. You can give any name that you like, create an alias. And finally test that. Translate. Today is Monday. Okay, so it's doing a good translation job. Perfect. Now let's come here and let's look at all of our agents. So our agents are ready. We have created the aliases. So we have essentially completed step 1. That is basically creating agents for each and every language of our choice. So I have used 3 languages. You could use more number of languages or less number of languages. And it's totally up to you what language you want to use. But we have completed step 1. Step 2. Now we have to go ahead and create the supervisor agent. So again, we will go to Bedrock, create agent, give a name and description, create a new role. You can use any model of your choice. And finally, give the instructions. And in this scenario, we are going to use multi-agent collaboration. And finally, save, prepare, and test. So let's go back. Go to agents, create agent. And now we are going to say, I'm going to call this lead translator. Okay, there you go. Now you can call it anything that you like. Or you could also call it multilingual translator. Enable multi-agent collaboration, click on create. Now, even if you don't want to check it over here, you can always go back in once the agent has been created and then enable multi-agent collaboration. The role that we have created is KXM. So KXM, I have to just make a note of it. So I delete the role at the end. I'm going to come out of this. I'm going to go to Haiku. You could use any model that you choose. And finally give our instruction. So the instruction is going to be, you are the lead translator who takes any English text from the user and then directs it to the corresponding agent depending on the chosen language of translation. Hold on. Depending on the chosen language of translation. Once you receive the translated text, you will review and finalize the text before sharing it with the user. This is the critical part. So it's not just about delegating and routing it to the corresponding collab agent or the secondary agent. What you need the supervisor to do is work with the agent, get the job done. And once the job is done, you need this agent to review and finalize the job, in this case, the translated text, before it is shared with the user. Okay, so that is absolutely critical. So these are our instructions to the agent. So let me quickly go here and copy this. So copy is a simple sentence. I mean, if you want, you can pause the video and type it out, just like how I have typed it out. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward and pretty simple. I'm going to save this. And after we have saved this, now we will go ahead and enable multi-agent collaboration. So scroll down. And now we are going to enable multi-agent collaboration. So this part, so turn on multi-agent collaboration, set the collaboration configuration as supervisor and add collaborator agents or collab agents for each language. Okay, and then we will give our collaborator instruction for each of the collaborator agents or collab agents. Okay, so go here, edit, multi-agent collaboration. Supervisor is the one. So by default, supervisor is selected. Now remember, you have two different options, and I have created labs for both of these. One is supervisor with routing, and other one is supervisor. In this lab, we are going to use a supervisor agent because we want this agent to coordinate the final response from across all the agents, review, finalize the response, and then share it with the user. So now let's go to the agent collaborator. Let's select our first agent. So French, F agent. We are going to give a name over here as FRAGENT. And finally, we will give our collaborator instruction. So basically, agent names, whatever the agent name is, translates text provided by the user from English to whatever language. So let's copy this. It's pretty straightforward again. So copy, go here, paste it right there. Now you will have to pick the agent name from the top. So French agent. See, the agent name is right here, where my mouse is, right here. Right? So French agent translates text provided by the user from English to French. Full stop. Okay, save. Now don't add a lot of agents because sometimes, this thing does screw up. It it just misbehaves. So when I was recording the lab for supervisor with routing, if you go and look at that lab, you'll see that it has misbehaved multiple number of times. So if it works really very well, it works really very well, but otherwise it does tend to misbehave. Add another collaborator. This time we are going to say Hindi and H agent, and we are going to say HI agent. And again, this is our text. We are going to give the name over here of the agent name right up on the top, which is Hindi agent, which translates text from English to Hindi. Okay, and there we have, again, I'm going to go and save this first. If you tend to add a lot, it kind of misbehaves and it'll just give you a very hard time. And either you will have to just get out of this, again, come back, or a lot of times you'll have to literally delete the supervisor agent and recreate it. So let's not go there. So we've added our two agents for Hindi and French. Now let's add another collaborator agent for Spanish, the S agent. And let's say I'm just going to give, I think it's SP if I'm not wrong. Okay, SP. We are going to give a text over here. Okay, and Spanish agent to basically Spanish. So Spanish agent translates text provided by the user from English to Spanish. Perfect. So we have all of our agents, all three agents. We are going to save. Ensure that it saves properly. Okay, so all our agents are there in. Save and exit. And now we have to go and save the lead translator. So save and exit. Prepare this. So we are preparing the working draft for the lead translator, and now test and say, hello, how are you? And I'm just a seeder. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm ready to help you with any translation needs you might have. Would you like to translate something from English to Spanish, Hindi, or French? So basically say translate. And what are we going to say? New New York City is busy. Is okay, we're just going to say New York City is busy. Okay. To what are we going to say? Maybe French. Let's see. We're going to translate this to French. Okay, so hold on, let me zoom in a little. What we are interested in is the trace. So now if you see over here, the multi-agent collaboration trace timeline. So it has given us a translation. The translation is fine. You can always use Google Translate to figure this thing out. Okay. But what we are interested now is in the execution. So if you see, the lead translator goes from end to end, and the French agent or the French translation agent was only called in for some amount of time. Now, what we want to see over here is remember that the lead translator basically picks the request from the user, gives it to the French agent, which it is actually doing. The French agent actually works on it, and then the lead translator reviews and finalizes the text before sharing it with the user. So that is exactly what is happening. If you see over here, the French agent is only working for some part in between. And if you go to the stack trace over here, you'll see that, okay, you can see the whole text. And now, if you scroll down, please translate this. So it is basically, I'll use a French translation agent to translate this sentence to French. Please translate this. Agent collaboration, perfect. And it's calling this FR agent, which is awesome. And the FR agent has given this translated text back. So this is what the step one is. So it did call our FR agent and it gave the translated text. Now let's see what happens over here. And you're the lead translation agent. Stop sequence. I will now send the translation back to the user. So it's basically reviewing it. Okay, so it's reviewed it because we did tell it to review it. So on the top, if you go up, and where is it? If I find that text, okay, this is, please translate the following to so and so. Okay, agent communication, send back, and content is raw. I'm trying to look if it has that text wherein it says review. Okay, I'll send the translation back to the user. Observation, here's a French translation. Okay, it didn't spit out specifically that it has reviewed the text, but yes, it did get the text back from the French agent, as you can see. And now it is telling us that I'll send the translation back to the users, and then it is sending the translation back to the user. And here's a French translation. And that's pretty much what it is. And finish. So this is how this particular multi-agent collaboration works. Now let us see if we can do translate something else. So translate today. We are going to say Delhi is the capital. Actually, New Delhi. Let's say New Delhi is the capital of India. I'm going to say Hindi. Let's do one thing. Instead of just translating one language, let's translate it to multiple languages and see what it does. So we are translating this English text to Hindi and Spanish. Let's see what happens. It's working. So here are the translations. Okay, show trace, and that's what we are interested in. So again, this is the lead translator over here. This is a Spanish agent. This is the Hindi agent that has been called. Of course, you have the translated text over here. You can verify this using Google Translate. But what we are interested in is this multi-agent collaboration trace timeline. And now, if I scroll down, you will see that, hey, it took all of this information. It took all of this information. And now we should see I will simultaneously use both the Hindi and the Spanish agents to translate the sentence. So basically, it is calling both the agents at the same time, multitasking, okay, multi-threading this whole thing, and then trying to get this. So basically, saying, please translate the following English text to Hindi. So this is the first one. So this is the HI agent. And to the Spanish agent, please translate the following English sentence to Spanish. And this is what it has sent out. Okay. So, and this is the Hindi translation. So this is what it has given. Let us look at the second one. Finally, you should review. And this is the stop sequence. I will compile the translations and send them to the user. So yes, it is compiling. Hopefully it's reviewing, but it's definitely compiling because it's telling us that it's compiling. Here are the translations, and then it is basically saying this is end of story. So this is perfect. And as you can see from the execution plan, we have the lead translator, the Spanish agent, and the Hindi agent. And finally, we will say translate. I learned a lot in this lab to Hindi, French, and Spanish. So let's see what it does. Now we are firing on all three cylinders. So hopefully it picks it up correctly. Okay. Show the trace. That's what we are interested in. So first French agent, then Spanish agent, and then Hindi agent. And basically it will get everything, compile everything together, review, finalize it, and then share it with the user. So this is how you work with multi-agent translation. So, I mean, you could again go inside, look at the stack trace. You have the entire trace over here. It's going to work in a very similar manner. And you should be able to see that, hey, I will be calling, where is that? Where's here? Please translate to Hindi. Please translate to Spanish. And please translate to French. I will simultaneously use French, Hindi, and Spanish translation agents. So this is perfect. Now let's do one thing. We'll say, we will do something different. Translate. Oh, sorry, my bad. Translate what? Okay. Okay, so let's go translate, I am doing good, to, I'm going to say finish. Remember, we don't have an agent for this language. I apologize, but I cannot translate the text to finish at this moment. The translation services currently I have available are Spanish, Hindi, and French. Would you like me to translate to any one of these languages? You might want to use online translation service or consult a Finnish language expert. So yes, it is the right thing to do. And if you go and look at the execution plan, it didn't call any other agents. The lead translator basically just reviewed it. It saw that I don't have an agent for this and it didn't do anything else. It didn't take any further action. And that is perfect. Okay, so you can combine these different languages and see how it works. But this is how you typically work with multi agents and how you can have collaboration between these agents. Of course, you can make it as complex as you want. You can insert guardrails, knowledge bases, have any kind of tool calling. But the intention of this lab was to showcase how multi-agent collaboration works. So hopefully this lab was good. You found it helpful. Do post your comments. If you work with this particular feature, do let me know. If you're new to my channel, do like and subscribe. This is it from me today, and I will see you shortly in some other video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.